records.
Okay.
I didn't want to put it in there and get confused with it too.
Yeah. The project manager, she is really good too, maybe. She's, you're both too young. For as good as they are.
Yeah.
Chief Witherell, why do I always see your names on all of the media releases? Do you just, are you like an ambulance chaser? You follow around and end up where all the action happens?
It's the black cloud.
It happens, yeah.
He also probably fills out more majority of them. Maybe they don't always get filled out by everybody. John's very consistent.
I do take more pictures, I believe, than the others. So one way of distributing those is either through social media or
Yeah.
the press release.
That's good.
He's good at multitasking and tech savvy. We have some of each, but he gets both in the BC.
Got it. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. I'd like to call to order this September 9th, 2025 meeting of the Stevenage County Fire District 4 Board of Commissioners to order. Please stand and join me in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm not sure about Commissioner Merritt. I communicated with him less than a couple hours ago, and he didn't say anything about not being here. So I don't know what's going on there. Any changes to the agenda? Oh, Mr. Erickson? Don't have any either. We have minutes from the August 11th meeting. We distributed any changes, modifications, or deletions, or additions? Hearing none, those are approved and submitted. Now is the time when the public may address the commission on any topic that is not on the agenda, because we allow comments that are on the agenda to happen during the meeting. So anything that's not on the agenda, if you have anything to mention or question, entertain those now.
Well, I had a question about one of the accounts payable.
That's on the agenda.
That's right.
Okay, we'll
So we'll get
hold
it,
that until
we'll
it's,
get it then,
we
okay.
get there.
Just want to make sure.
Anything online?
Nope.
Sir, okay. Informational, we're on accounts payable. And Richard, you said yours was accounts payable?
Yes, I had a question there.
Go ahead.
On page 26, it was 4453, and it talked about an IRS penalty.
You and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait,
I saw that one too.
why are we getting penalized by the IRS?
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about.
I would have to go to the details, but he's been fighting with them for quite some time now. So
Do we know what it is?
he's told me 100 times, but yeah, so it's when you get billed and when you get paid, and then we paid it all. We're just fighting to prove that we paid it.
And I'm assuming, since we don't pay tax, I'm assuming this is withholding
Correct, exactly.
for employees, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna speak to it because it's been going on for a year or more now.
Okay. And I had a couple of questions. One was.
Can I have a phone follow-up to that, please? Yeah, it says it's a penalty, and so, if something isn't corrected, we probably get a penalty in the future, is that?
Well,
Is that how we?
I don't know enough about it, and Chief Rader is not here to be able to respond appropriately to that, so.
Okay.
It's like anything, once you get in the system, once they mark a box, then it's many hours on the phone to get things unmarked and unchecked and righted, so. We have, it's called a penalty, we have paid everything we're supposed to pay, but again, when the federal government tells you to pay the penalty, if you don't pay the penalty, then you get a penalty on the penalty.
That's right. It's compound.
Thad's working through it, and I'm not gonna speak to it because it's very complicated, and I know the high level, which is,
Well, thank
we
you.
feel they did something wrong, and now we're in discussions with them,
Yeah.
which means hours on hold.
Stick with me a second, I'm trying to find where it is.
Well, while you're looking,
Go ahead.
I have two of them I've looked at, but, and this is, I'm sure they're fine, but I'm just curious about it. 4376, it says a VRBO deposit, on 7/14/25. I take it that's probably, we were on a wildland mow or something similar, or classroom.
So I can't find the numbers, they're not on over, so can you give me a page, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. So if you could give me the page. and
Page
give me-
3,
Just, no, the APs would have to pull your PDF page. Because if we put 2 AP batches in there, there'll be 2 page 3s.
PDF pages on the right-hand column, Craig. Very, see, it'll have it.
Looks like page 12.
page 12, okay. I've got all right there.
Oh, that year's right there.
Yeah. Page 12, 4376.
Okay, so that's, I'm pretty sure that is, DJ is taking a class in Chelan,
Yeah.
and the Campbell's fills up
Yeah.
immediately, so that was the best deal we could find.
Sure. No, I figured it was something like that, but I know sometimes people.
What is it, an Airbnb in Wapato or something?
Could be,
Probably much nicer than Campbell's.
and where we stay.
And then I don't have the other one in front of me, but I distinctly remember what it was. Cuz Concrete,
Yeah,
Yes,
do they do the pumping for the septic system? Is
they
that-
do.
Okay.
That's a part of
I
it.
saw the company name and I said, Cuz Concrete, septic, that doesn't mix.
No, it doesn't mix, but yeah, that's our pumping company for the ROB tank.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I thought, just wanted to verify, okay. That's all I have.
okay, I found one of mine on page 16. City of Snohomish.
Okay.
Why are we paying water already? Do we have water service into that site now? For $353.78?
Which,
We pay water for Maple and for here.
But this says 4th Street Properties.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we have is, and I worked this through, I had the same question, because these bills come to me last year. So we have, where the stubs are all at, we have a set fee that we pay to have those in
Just a
place.
meter fee.
Yes.
And
Got it.
it was cheaper to keep the old meters because then when we got the big meter, which we have, they give you a credit for the old one, so it was cheaper
Ah.
to pay
All right,
the standby fee and get the credit when we got the new meter than it was to discontinue the meters last year.
right, leave it hooked up, because then you get disconnected, and then you gotta pay a reconnection fee and.
Correct.
Redo this.
If we would've had them pick it up, you get 0 credit. We would have not paid the standby fee, but paying the standby fee, we get, I had the thing on our bill, I wanna say we got $50,000 off the bill.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay. And on page 17, Common Street is, that was for the whole,
Extension,
and for, yeah.
yeah, for the moving, and so we're still getting that bill because we gave Pettis the extension.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
correct.
Okay. That was it for me.
I will, if you give me just a second, I will email that about that IRS so I don't forget.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I had.
All right.
Yeah. What do you need? Which
Those
one?
are approved as submitted.
Which one? Okay.
I'm just sitting here thinking, I wonder if Evan thought it was at 7 o'clock tonight.
That's what I'm thinking.
We should text him or ask him.
You need to text me?
Yeah. The next item is kind of a little blurb, a press release, if you were, about our financial rating, which we're pretty pleased about. Thank you, everyone, for all the work you did on that. I had expressed a concern to the chief about how much we should advertise that. And it goes back to our statements to the public early in the construction phase for the new station, and stating that we were not going to use bonds, at least voted on bonds, to help finance this. And so if we go out now and say, oh, by the way, we've just been rated AA+ for bonds, I was just concerned about the message that could potentially send to people who now see bonds, and if they think back and say, well, wait a minute, you told us that you weren't gonna use bonds. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was a little worried about that, so I'm I think we should be careful about how we advertise the fact that we are this wonderful AA+ rating for bonds, and, because I don't want to send the wrong message to the public. That's all. I think it's great. I think we're, at appropriate times, you can share that information, but I'm not so sure that we should just, go waving flags and say, hey, look how wonderful we are. I don't know. What do you think?
I did have that discussion with one of our community support members this morning, talking about how they were kind of talking as a group about how to promote the fire department in a better fashion through real estate agents and things like that, that Snohomish has an excellent support system with the fire department. And that subject also came up at the same time. And it's sort of the overall view of the department. Hey, it's a great place, and if you're looking for a home to buy or a place to be, there's another espoused value that we can show you that's a good reason to buy. And if you're looking for a house for you and your family, a good reason to buy in Snohomish. So, it could be taken either way.
I suppose. I guess I would just defer to you to know to the audience and the atmosphere of what's going on and how well to present that information.
Yeah, and that's what we're thinking, so if you're okay with this, we wouldn't, it wouldn't be a press release per se like Sean's, that just goes to all the news outlets. It would be more like you accepted this wording and we will use pieces or parts or all of it when appropriate. So we might do a Facebook post during budget time that says, oh yeah, we're doing a budget, but hey, we also just had this happen, you know, so.
Okay.
You know, or when we post, usually we post something about this, the audit, right? So maybe, I don't know when, but maybe when we post the next audit, we say, not only have we got a clean audit, we also have this last year, or whatever it is. We wanted to get you guys to
Yep.
approve the wording, and then we would use it as appropriate.
Perfect.
Sure.
You okay, Craig?
Yep,
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you for your work on that.
good discussion.
Yeah. So, if I might divert, squirrel rabbit trail for a second, Ralph. A question to you about that rating.
Yeah.
How significant is that in your sphere of influence?
It's pretty significant, because what they're doing is they're rating your financial health. So you can couch it that way if you want, and you don't necessarily have to say AA plus rating for bonds. You got a AA plus rating because your financial health, your balance sheets look good, and you're better than a reasonable risk. So depending on how you want to state that to the public, that's a feather in the cap, frankly, from a financial standpoint.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
I don't know who did the rating. Was it Moody's or somebody else?
S&P. But I wanna say we're one of 5 fire districts that have got that high. And we couldn't get a AAA because we don't use, accrual basis accounting, and you get a report back, and that was literally the only thing that kept us from getting a AAA was that we don't, it's literally written in the rules that they cannot give a AAA without accrual based accounting.
Mm.
We use cash basis.
Yeah. And I don't know that we would want to do that accrual.
No, that's
It's
not.
a-
Please no.
Not without
I'd rather have a root canal, I think.
Yeah, it is nice that we got that rating on that. Does say a lot for the organization.
From my perspective, I think as a government agency, people want us to use money and be financially sound, and I think that proves that we're not over our skis. We're not I think it proves that we're doing it right. Like, yes, we need money to do our operation, and we're taking your money and we're leveraging it and doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with everything you said, Ralph, and everyone else. I just had that one concern about phrasing that whole bond thing. Yeah. So,
And Evan's next to the team.
oh, okay. Hope he's okay. We have had some pretty good success in the last several months with the construction of Station 41. We were very fortunate that preloading thing went faster than we had anticipated, and the weather has cooperated, and I've been very, very impressed with GenCap and their operation and how well they're staying on top of things, and they're doing a good job working with the city, although that can be really frustrating at times, I think, depending upon, it doesn't matter if the city of Snohomish or city of Los Angeles, just working with city government can be frustrating. But they're doing a really good job. I think Craig and I both, and I hadn't talked with Evan about it, both were wondering if there was a way, if GenCap turns out to be just a stellar contractor, if there's a way that we could leverage that work that's a benefit to us for future projects, specifically for Station 42. So I asked the chief to look into what other options might be, and the GCCM option came up. And Ralph is here to kind of help us understand that whole process and where we might be able to go with that.
So as a public entity, you're by statute required to competitively bid your construction projects. And then in the early 2000s, the state allowed through some RCWs and some Washington Administrative Code to be able to pick general contractors on qualification base as opposed to low bid, responsive and responsible bid. So there's a very clear process, but there's two different types of alternative contracting. There's one that's called progressive design build, where the contractor and the general and the architect are one team, and you bring them on board by qualification-based selection to actually design and build the thing as one entity. It has application like many things. It's not a panacea for everything, and it has specific application. The second one is one where you bring the general contractor on board during the early phases of design to be a team member with you, so that as the design evolves and progresses, they're there to give you cost assurance or cost certainty, as well as assist the architect in getting a good tight set of drawings. And then at a later stage of the last phase of design, they provide a guaranteed maximum price before they go into construction, or in some cases, the owner and the design team and the general contractor said, hey, we'll buy out the project, which means you competitively bid all the subs. That's part of the requirements. So that selection process, you still retain contractual relationship with the architect, unlike design build. And you have an architect already who's done a very good job. You want to continue what you're doing with 42 to mirror all the standardization you've had on 41, 43. You don't want something different. So this alternative process of bringing on the general contractor in the early phases of design through a qualifications-based selection process is a way of leveraging opportunities to utilize the best in the business, so to speak. It does require that all subcontractors must be competitively bid, just like you did 41 and 43. So at some point in time, you do have a public bid process. There is a stage in the selection of the general contractor, what we call general contractor / construction manager. That's the official title. The acronym's GCCM. Where after a response to a request for qualifications and an interview with firms, you shorten the number of firms you're going to invite to the third stage, which is actually a fee competition. So you have them put in a competitively bid, I bid X percentage for my markup on the project, and I bid what's called specified general conditions, which are your field personnel, and basically that's about it. And based upon the points that you assign for the qualification statement, for the interview, and then for the fee competition, you come up with total number of points. Whoever has the most points, they're the firm you select. Does that give an existing firm you're working with an opportunity? Yes, it does, but it doesn't mean it's a guarantee. Mm-hmm. So I've done 10 of those across, 9 of them across the state, and one in the state of Alaska. And the thing I love about it the most is when you bring this general contractor on board in the early phase of design, they become a partner. And that's the best kind of project you can get, is when you're working together, not at odds. Everybody still wants to make a profit, and we want them to make a reasonable profit. But at the bottom line, we all know that it's the people who make the project work, yes or no. It's yes. It's not the logo. It's not who's got the best looking construction trucks. It's the folks on the job that make or break the job. And you're seeing that right now on Station 41 with that team. They're outstanding. So no, it's not it's not a done deal, but it gives opportunity for you as a fire district to say, we want the best qualified firm to do this project on 42. And the reason we're allowed to present this to the state for approval, they have to approve us to be able to do that. It's not a slam dunk. There has to be certain kinds of parameters about the project that what they call Project Review Committee, PRC, will look at an application. There's 12 items that they will look at in our application for you that says, does this qualify as a project where you need a general contractor early on? And the answer to this is yes, because number one, it's a fire station, that's considered a complex project. And number two, you have an occupied site. So you're building, you're doing new construction while an existing fire station is in operation, and you want a general contractor on board during the early design phase to be able to figure out the logistics by which construction will not interfere with your operation. And that's the key to 42. And that's why we think your PRC committee will approve this. So we've got an application, it's due on October 20th, and I've got a colleague who we've worked together. We actually worked together at Snohomish High School, which was a 4-stage, 2-bond issue GCCM project, believe it or not. And my colleague,
Because you had a functioning school there.
we did. That was a very complicated project because you had kids coming and going every which way. And certainly it's a lot more complex than the fire station, but the principles are the same and the process is the same and the outcome should be the same, which is you get the best value for your dollar. That's what we're after. So that application is due October 20th. We will then be invited to do an interview with a committee on December 4th. And based upon that interview, then we should be awarded approval to do 42 under this alternative contracting opportunity. It really is. Again, it's not a panacea for everything, but for complicated projects like what you've got for 42 on an occupied site, it works very well. And again, you're looking for qualified people, competitive fee, and put it all together, and hopefully you got the best project. The thing I will tell you is you're not married to that firm if you decide that you can't come to a guaranteed maximum price. And I've had one project, unfortunately, that we couldn't come to terms, and so we cut them loose. We went out and competitively bid the project, and the result was that our estimator was correct. It was $2 million too high in their GMP, and the low bid was $2 million below their offer, and we felt like we were validated that our position was don't sign a GMP with this firm. And you know, we got the benefit of the pre-construction services they provided us, but at the end of the day, it was about where's our best value for our dollar.
So, and I would say, for me, that's the kind of the key there. So we can't select GenCap and we can't give them any special treatment or anything.
No.
But what we can do is we make sure that firms will build a building the way we want more, right? Like means and methods are kind of up to the general contractor, and so we can nail that down more so that third station is as much the same as these as we can. So we'll get contractors that'll do it the way we want in this process, even if it's not the one that we've been using.
Sure.
It'll still be done the way we want. And then if all else fails, it doesn't slow anything down. So if we're doing the GCCM and it fails and we go out to regular bid, we would have done it at the exact same time, right? So there's no delay. We just get to have all this process. And then let's say Bob's contracting does get it. We have time to make sure that they're gonna use, right? Because again, every contractor wants to, even though we spec it in, they're gonna wanna change order this and change order that. And so we can have that all worked out and be like, no, we don't want that change. We want that for a very, very specific reason. We want it the same. So it just gives us more time that if it's not the one that we're used to, we have the most opportunity to make them do it exactly the way we want.
Yeah.
The best GCCM during the design phase is the one that looks at the drawings and says, you know, if you would put this detail together a little different, make it a whole lot easier for us to do,
Right,
to
yeah.
do that detail.
I was gonna say that up front, knowledge is
Absolutely.
invaluable. You don't know how much you're gonna end up saving, time and money,
Yeah.
you know, and both of those things are very precious.
This has been done in the private sector for decades. I mean, the state has just now started allowing this in the past, I want to say about 15, 16 years. And originally they were pilot projects, and I was so blessed to be on a couple of pilot projects early on that turned out to actually have worked really well. But the PRC is made up of professionals in the field, as well as there's some folks from WSU and UW that are on construction departments that are on the committee. But it's generally, you know, folks, guys like execs from Turner Construction or Mortensen or some of those firms. So they're very knowledgeable, and you got to go in there with your A game, because they'll ask you really tough questions.
You're not gonna slip things by them.
No, you're not.
And this helps us, if we do it this way, it helps us integrate the 43 schedule and the 42 schedule on the fly. Like if we do a hard bid, we kind of just have to, I wouldn't say a year, but probably 6 months out, say we
At
think
least.
43 is gonna be done at this time, and we're gonna start there, because by the time you advertise the bid and and give them time to start,
Yeah.
this way we can be a lot more nimble of like, oh, it's going early, we can move up, it's going late, we can move back. Where a hard bid, you don't do that. We have to pick a point in time and just say that's when 42 is gonna start, whether we ended at 43 early or late.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing you can do if market conditions are demanding is you can phase the construction. So for example, if for whatever reason the calendar starts getting out of sorts for us, where we're gonna start breaking ground in December or January, which is, you know, as everybody knows, that's a really bad idea. You would tell the GCCM, look, we're gonna put out a set of documents. We want you to start the foundation with a permit, hopefully, from the county, so that we can go to construction the summer before, even though maybe the whole design's not done yet. But get out of the ground so that
Oh, yeah.
come winter, we're in an all-weather condition where we are not subject to
Walking
having
around
to bring a bunch of import.
Waders to try to
Yeah,
get
that's,
forms.
So way more nimble, and
it is.
and again, it works with our kind of funding model, right? We'll be able to know the cost and be able to, you know, capitalize on getting started early.
Yeah.
It's a good time to buy construction as well. It's continued to get softer and softer in the market. And my colleague that actually worked with him on Snohomish, he's gonna be the main guy to get us through the process to get the GCCM on board. He was telling me about some projects most recently that were very small, like much smaller than 41, and there was 9 bidders on there, and 3 of them were big names that do work at Microsoft or you know, private sector, where they're just looking to keep their guys busy. So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
So contractors are a little hungry.
Right now they're hungry. Yeah. How long that stays, I don't know, but
Are there any landmines or drawbacks going this route?
all I can tell you is some of my war wounds. One is not getting a GMP that you think is a reasonable one to sign. When you competitively bid subs, the one landmine there is the general has to be really on top of their marketing game to subs. Most subs these days now understand that process, because you're not bidding to fire district, you're bidding to the general contractor, and the general contractor is going to run the bid process, not the owner. So it's up to the general contractor to make sure that the bid documents to the subs are clean, the subs can understand it. That's going to be a public bid opening, but it's going to be the general running the show. So if the general's not doing their job in communication with the subs, you don't get good coverage on the day that, say, you're buying, say, a structural steel or something. And you wanna make the bid packages such that the subcontractors are used to doing that. If you make a package that throws a bunch of stuff in there that subs aren't generally used to, they're not gonna bid it. They're gonna pass. So the generals generally know how to communicate with the subs, and good ones get out in front of that and sit subs down and say, hey, here's how you fill this bid form out. Here's what the general conditions are gonna look like from you, because we're passing them on from the fire district.
Yeah.
When they don't do that, then on those bid days, and I had a project where we had to throw out, half a dozen sub quotes because we didn't get good coverage. They hadn't talked to those communities. And so we did those over and improved our final buyout, so.
I would presume that in a lot of cases, the general has a handful of subs that they are used to working with.
They do.
And have that relationship so they can kind of get that all cemented together before.
Sometimes there's subs out there that they're not familiar with that they should get familiar with. So we want them to, there's a couple of things we want them to do. One, we want to communicate. And two, we want to make sure, particularly locally, firms have an opportunity. And so if you have a firm from Seattle that doesn't know the area, then we want them to do some marketing locally to say, hey, there's some good firms here. There's some good electricians. There's a couple of good HVAC guys, that kind of thing. So those are things that we're responsible to stay on top of, is say, and PRC will actually ask that question. What are you doing about marketing to disadvantaged firms? What are you doing about local contracting? So,
Apologize for the moment.
You okay? Yeah. Okay.
You do have to publicly approve this process before
Yeah.
we submit our
That's
application.
what I was just looking at
Okay.
the staff recommendations. We were just talking about the GCCM process and how that could richly benefit us over time, I think.
I will say that in conversation with the architect today, they're very excited about the opportunity to be able to do this.
So, Station 42 is not all that dissimilar from 43.
Correct.
I mean, other than, the location, but the station itself. So how much more work does Lawhead actually have to do that would then be incorporated with the contractor?
Well, they're still going to have to do a site select or a site.
Site work.
Yeah, they're still going to have to be able to put it on the site where it makes the most sense and
Sure.
stays out of the way of your current operation.
Yeah.
So there may be some modifications to floor plans in order to accommodate that. I haven't looked at the site recently, so
Yeah,
it's been a while.
we'll mirror it, we have to flip. And I thought the same thing, and logically you and I think that, and I don't know what's true, but Frank basically said that the ahead that we are is that the SD, the DD is all done over again, no matter what.
Yeah.
So we're a little ahead on the schematic because we know the general layout, and that's it.
Your head on standardization of materials, your head on
Yeah.
standardization of systems. You don't have to go through that again because you've already decided what kind of mechanical systems you want. Your head on some of the low voltage and communication systems, you've selected those. We now have a firm on board, as you know. So those kinds of things, those questions, they don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. They go right to doing the design based upon those
But
standards.
the DD and the
Yeah, the
ground
mechanical
still
knows-
have to all be done.
Yes, the mechanical knows which HVAC we're gonna use, but they have to design it all over again.
Got it. Okay.
And it's-
So there is a
Yes.
substantial body of work
Correct.
that contractor can be part of.
And the big thing is because we're not supposed to talk about GenCat, but like if we were gonna, if we did not have to follow RCW, we could just select GenCat. Probably wouldn't be a big deal, but we have to think that it might not be GenCat, whether it's traditional bid or
Right.
GCCM. So we have to get our mind around, it might be
Yeah.
Bob, right? And if it's Bob, it's all new to them. And so if we get Bob, we'd rather have Bob in at the DCCM and not the traditional bid.
Got it. Yep, so whoever it's going to be, yeah, understood.
Yeah, by the time we get to construction, that general will know that job inside out.
Whether, yeah, did I say it?
Yeah.
All right? Questions, gentlemen?
When do we discuss funding of those two projects?
It's in the capital plan that we've been adopting every year, so we'll do another set of bonds next year, and then the third will all depend on how much we spend or save on these two projects. So if we spend none of the contingency, we wouldn't do any more debt service. If we spend all the contingency, then we would do 7 million more, somewhere between 0 and 7 for the third one. Or if we put more away, and so the third one, the 42 is kind of left up in the air. Because we don't know.
Yeah, that's answers the question.
Okay.
That's actually one of the questions on the application to the PRC is, what is your financial plan for funding this then? We have to answer that question.
And you just make the list, well, we're having a car wash and a big
Big
sale.
sale,
Knock on wood.
and a rummage sale.
Ralph doesn't like me saying this, but, you know, the most likely, we are past the most likely heavy contingency fund usage,
Because we're out of the ground.
because we're out of the ground.
Almost.
So,
Almost out of the
yeah.
ground.
You get out of Pine Street and then you'll be
Yes.
good.
But at least in those, the city has to pay for at least half of them.
Yeah.
So, I haven't taken it out of the budget, but it's looking like we're going to be more likely to be less to no debt for 42, but again, we're still 2 years away. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah, 43, I'm actually more nervous about 43 simply because there's a demolition component and it's the same kind of glacial till, sensitive soil to moisture that is all around here. You know, once you get out of the ground at 43, then you'll be really good.
And again, before we decide that we go, we will know that.
Mhm.
Right, before we give the we are gonna bid it out, because we can stop anytime
Yeah.
before that, so.
Yeah.
If something happens here and we spend $5 more million here that was way out of our budget, we'll have time to be like,
Does that come before or after demolition? We'll know what the soils are
before,
before.
not when we vote, no, we'll
Oh,
know
all
before
right, so we'll just
42.
be out.
Yeah,
Okay.
this one,
You know
this
what
one's
the
a
soils
no
are
deal.
now.
We'll be out, we'll be like,
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't. Meanwhile, there'll be no station.
Correct, exactly, no. And then it would be a decision up to you guys, do you want to go ahead and bond more and just finish with 42, and then we would have to do the same, look, we did it at 41. You know, sometimes waiting just costs you more, right? The amount of construction that goes up is less than the financing that you pay on the debt service, but that would be a conversation then, and we would have actual, you know, hard numbers, not wishy-washy numbers like we do now.
I'm just praying that our timing for 43 and 42 can be as good as it was for 41 for the civil work. Because, you know, having dry weather made it so much easier. So we'll see how that goes. I move that we approve this plan and authorize the chief to enter into contract with Turner Townsend for the scope for GCCM.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you, Rob. Appreciate your
If
time.
you don't mind, I'm gonna
Yep.
hit the.
Go on, get out of here.
Sure.
Go mow your lawn or something.
I got an airplane to catch.
Yeah, all right.
Can I have a quick go back?
Yes,
Okay, IRS.
IRS.
When we switched to Wells Fargo as our banking instead of the county, because we had to do that for the Springbrook and all that, there was an ACH screw up, and Wells Fargo showed that we sent it out, and IRS says they didn't get it. And so Thad didn't catch it, until the next, because we pay it quarterly.
Yeah.
And so it didn't catch it till the next quarter, and the bill appeared to be weirdly twice as big as it should be. So when he backtracked, he figured out that the IRS didn't get it. Backtracked with Wells Fargo, there
It
was,
came out of our account.
it looked like it did.
Oh,
This was all the setup time. When he backtracked, it never did leave the account. So we had the money, we didn't pay, at first we thought we paid. Anyways, we got the penalty, he's been fighting them ever since, because it was as simple as that. He's got them so far to agree to not, process late fines, but they're going to stop that. And he said that everything has to be done by a certified letter, and about 50% of them, they say they didn't get. So it's taking forever, because,
certified, those are the ones you have to sign for, right?
yeah.
Gotta sign, somebody's gotta sign.
Somebody,
That's
the
what he said.
janitor or the
So-
IRS
so
signed
then
it.
he's gotta get on hold and wait, and so, this happened in 2023, and we're still, and so he wants to pay it, he paid it, so, because they were threatening to not waive the late fines as we
Yeah,
continue to try to work for this, and he just said it takes forever, because you send a letter, you wait however long, then you call, they say they didn't get the letter, you send another letter. So,
maybe we could just write a letter to Elon and get one of his 19-year-old kids on this, and they could figure it out in about 37
30
seconds, right?
so that's what it was that one missed at the switch over to Wells Fargo from wherever we're at.
But we still don't know if the IRS is going to suspend all of the fines for the fines for the fines for the.
They have so far so what we paid, the penalty was the original penalty.
Penalty,
So we paid it, that's what we're paying
so
now.
not interest on them.
Correct. But they have not made us pay the late fees on the penalty.
But
They're threatening to stop that. What was that?
They're waiting to receive payment still?
No, they got the payment.
Oh.
That was the penalty for not getting the payment the first time in 2023.
Wow,
So that was all that.
okay.
Like I said, there were a lot of details that I didn't want to say the wrong things. So we're paying the penalty, so we don't get late fees on the penalty.
Or late fees on late fees.
Correct.
Yeah. That's just incredible. Your government at work.
Any other questions about that?
You are the government.
Touche.
Touche. Alright.
We are to bunker gear that we need to buy. It's my understanding that this was originally supposed to have been next year, right?
That was the plan.
The plan. But now we need it now.
Well,
Or we want to get
we
it
want to get it now so that we can buy in bulk and keep it.
off the Oregon state bid or whatever it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And all this stuff is getting more and more delayed as well.
Is it?
Yeah, like,
So you gotta order it 4 years in advance?
yeah, not quite 4 years, but helmet shields used to be 4 to 6 weeks, now they're 12 to 16 weeks.
For a helmet?
Helmet
Helmet
shield.
shield.
Just on the shield.
Just the front piece.
Yeah, bunker gear, I think
What are
is
they
pretty,
made in Swahili or something?
something. But it seems like everything, the wait time is greater and greater as well. So if we wait until we absolutely need it, we're 8 to 12 weeks behind. So
And of
we
course, the
almost-
vendors are saying it's a supply chain issue when all it is a stall to make more money.
And this is out of our F-75, our savings, and so whether we spend it this month or 3 months from now, it's coming out of the exact same pot of money that we already have saved for this.
For next year,
Yeah,
right?
so getting it
So we just
here,
need to do the shell game, move
Correct.
some money from here to here and call it good?
actually just need to approve it and move money.
Oh.
We just need you to say we
Oh,
can
because
do
it's
it.
the same account?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just we didn't have you approved the about a quarter of it that we were gonna do, and you haven't approved the one that we're gonna do next year, because that'll happen in November. So you just have to approve us so that we can go
Got it.
forth and do it.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase authorization for $55,000 for bunker gear.
And that's number 2025.41.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
So how did Oregon get this great bid? Just happened to stumble onto it or something? Oregon Fire Marshal?
No, they probably their state bid, it's like those cooperative bids, and most of us do it, so when we,
But why Oregon and not Washington?
they just happen to do
Got a
that
better
company, the
deal.
one we use, you know, Washington doesn't, we don't have a state fire, our state fire marshal isn't like the Oregon, so they don't go by us, but,
Got it.
it might have been, you know, Seattle will bid, and we could jump on theirs, but they might have got, I don't know what we use, but they might have got low, and we want Lions.
Yeah.
Right, so Oregon happened to have the one that was the best, that matches what we want, right? Like when we bought the ladder, every bid we do always puts that, like, somebody could have tagged on to our bid for the ladder.
Yeah.
But, so Oregon did it, they must do cooperative bids for their state.
Sure.
Cause you see the Oregon State Fire Marshals a lot, I don't think anybody knows Oregon, but they must do like a state bid, like we do for cars, for all of their fire service.
Yep, got it.
They're very
Maybe we
much
don't
involved.
get, maybe we don't get sales tax because it's Oregon, who knows? We don't.
I
nobody- nobody knows.
I can answer that one. We definitely get sales tax.
Yeah.
Get to pay sales tax.
And the shields for the helmets are gonna be like smoke colored, right? See, nobody can see your eyes. Oh my gosh. Moving on. As part of our regular review of policies, staff has come up with 3 that we're updating. 120 is the mobilizations. 508 is the part-time program, and 715 is staffing, specifically to kind of allow for new dedicated units and allowing for moving forward to we had more staff.
And we made some minor grammatical and definition changes in 120, no content change, we just, from what's in the packet, we moved things around, the definitions down to the definition section.
Yep. I, in my typical fashion, got a little carried away on editing, drove the chief crazy for a couple of days. Well, the chief and Sean both. But they're all in there. Any questions on anything?
Yeah, I got a question, in regards to the MOB policy. Did we mandatory this year when it came to actually sending people out?
Yes.
I see it in the language. Is that, how many mandatories did we end up doing in order to have people out of the station?
I could get that for you, I don't know off the top of my head, but mandatory would be for the backfill we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't mandatory to send somebody on a MOP for 14 days, but we have, where we can't get voluntary backfill, we do mandatory. And I know in the hours report for August, we had,
120 something.
yeah, looks like mandatory overtime was 192. Not all of that would have been backfilled, but some of it certainly would have been. And I'm sure this next report will be in the same boat, because I know just this last MOB, we had to mandatory people, the one that's out now. So I can get that for you, but off the top of my head, I don't know exactly how much was caused by the MOB versus the person that also called out sick on that same shift at a MOB. So, but I can get that for you.
And that's the hard one to say, so if there's 3 people off, one's a MOB, and there's 1 mandatory, who do you assign it to?
Yeah. I guess the concern is that, as much as we do, I believe we do support the program they have, we have here is that it's not causing mandatory, right? It's not forcing people to work days that they weren't not scheduled to be here. Just so people can be out on the fires.
2 things, either we go or we don't go, because we can't forecast that. So I have no way, when we say yes today, if it's gonna cause a mandatory 13 days from now. It would be impossible for me to know that. And once we go, we can't just, in good conscience, call them back without warning. So we work with the local, and the locals agree to this program, right? Like there's, every program causes mandatory. So the water team causes mandatory. When we send people to training, we mandatory. The road team, the tech team, going to FDIC, all these things cause mandatory, and again, with agreement from the local, all these things going together, that everybody gets some out of it, and everybody has to pay some. And if you select one program out, then how do I then say we can't? Bob, you can't
balance it
go,
out.
yeah, Bob, you can't go on a mow because it might cause mandatory, but Tim, you can go to water training and that's gonna cause Bob to get mandatory. Now Bob's pissed because he didn't go out on a mow, but then he got mandatory for this guy's water training. So
Sure.
we try to manage mandatory as much as we can, and Jason has said no to most because we felt there was too many people out. So we do consider that, but we don't try to get to zero because it's almost impossible. But we have said, no, we're not gonna send a rig out because we felt we didn't have enough staffing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have sent 2 rigs out last mow and we had a huddle up and decided not to send 2 out, but inevitably there's gonna be, you know, when most of the mows happen during the summer and the highest peak vacation time, that's when the majority of them go out, we're going to probably not get it down to 0. But I also wouldn't say it's like 80%'s being covered with mandatory. I would say prior to this last one, probably 25%, but there's other factors that play into it. We have 2 company officers assigned to the training academy. I have another paramedic that's out on FMLA right now. Those impact just as much as the mow. So we have usually other factors than just the mow that would cause, and we have this argument all the time within the stations and the crews do. What caused the mandatory? Well, you could say the last thing that happened, we were staffed until somebody called out sick or took short-term leave, but if you're getting mandatory, you might look at it and go, well, it's because the brush truck's gone. Well, that's not why. It's because this employee called out sick, and that's so. But I don't think it's a lot. I think this last week you may hear some are on calls that may be a little salty because they did get mandatory in the last week, but I don't think it's widespread.
And this is an unusual time because we just put the dedicated unit in service and we have 3 full-time and 6 part-time
Yeah.
at the capacity, right? So we're
Catching up with that.
catching up with that, and again, it's what do you do first? You know, and so it's always hard to get the staffing right. So it's worse now because we didn't, you know, up until August, we didn't mandatory much. And right before August, we can ask the BCs, there were people whining because they weren't getting enough overtime. And so we went from, I'm mad because I'm not getting enough overtime, to within, literally, I'm not joking, within a month, less than a month, I'm mad because I'm getting mandatory. So, you know, you're never gonna get it right? You're gonna have 25% of the people that want more overtime, you're gonna have 25% of the people that want less overtime, and 50% of the people that don't care. And there's always gonna be some group that is slightly upset. So we work really hard to manage it to keep it from being extreme either way.
Well, I will, like by the end of September on.
No,
cut it
that
down,
answers
I-
it.
I-
You don't need to do any more work. That answers it. In my mind, it was like something that we're doing outside of, it does make sense now that you explained that people call in sick.
Yeah.
It's mandatory is gonna happen, but obviously if you have 6 people out on, across the state, it's, you know, I guess more than anything is it causing an increase that's unsustainable? You know, like where the program obviously is, you know, how you guys answer that. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
And
I don't need you to.
And I think that's a valid concern.
Yeah, like I support the program, I just don't want us to.
There are
lead it.
some agencies that I've, at least according to social media, if you can believe that, but it was a department that posted it, that, sounds like they mandatory to send people out, like, so that's a little different, like, being mandatory for 24, but no, I'm mandatory you to go on a 14-day deployment. Cause we, like, and I was like, I don't think that would go over too well.
To the middle of no place, so you can sleep in your tent.
And we would agree, Evan, we don't want to, because we don't want to get the majority of the people upset at the program. So
Yeah.
Jason and Greg and Sean Osborne, the VC that manages it, and then every VC, they talk about this probably daily, if not at least 2 or 3 times a day, about can't we, how much mandatory is happening. For instance, the 3 people that were up on the list go on the brush group that's right now, 2 of them were paramedics, and Jason said, no. Like we can't handle that, and I don't know who we talked to, but we made a vote just on that to say, no, we can do this, but we can't do that, and so that
Also,
was.
was reading that you guys can fill with outside agencies, is that a thing as well?
Yeah, we can, we haven't, because, you know, but like South County sends their people on Getchell,
Yeah.
and Everett sends their people on Getchell, so we could do that.
I didn't know that.
We just haven't talked to,
So more.
Yeah, but
extreme-
ideally, you would
Yeah.
manage it in-house.
yeah, but we would like to get there, you know, I'd like to talk to South County and Everett and say, if you're gonna do that, how about you do it with us and partner with us, but we just haven't, our system is we're still building our system, so we're trying not to get out over our skis.
And for the most part, we've had enough people willing to go out that we've been able to fill. In fact, for every one person that might have some complaints about, I don't like sending the rigs out because I might get mandatory. We also have had people that are mad that we didn't send them out because of so like it is literally it depends on who you're talking to, at what point in their schedule you're talking to them. Because if it's convenient for me, I want it, and I don't care if it inconveniences somebody else. If it's not convenient, then I don't want it. But I think we've done overall a fairly good. We can refine it, and we've talked about refinement today on a building going forward. Sean Gregg and the VCs, we sat at a table this morning and talked specifically about where can we improve moving forward to make this, we have some ideas that we're gonna bring forward to the group to hopefully make it even better next year. But it's progressively in 3 years gotten way better. From organization to everything has just progressed now it's almost first mob out, like I think all the chiefs were in, nobody knew how to get a rig out the door, and now it's like we don't need to come in, the VCs can hand out the kits. We're following policy, it's gonna get better and better.
And this policy was redrafted with collaboration with the local wildland team and admin. So the local and the wildland team had just as much influence in this new draft as us, and so we do that on purpose. Like you said, we're not gonna do anything that the local doesn't support.
Yeah.
Chief Hawkinson? Can debit days be, oh, he's already shaking his head.
Well, I'm gonna let you finish, because I don't know, he probably knows the answer, but.
For, instead of mandatorying somebody, can you mandatory a debit day?
No, you can't mandatory a debit. You can mandatory them, then they can, if it fits in the rules, they can switch.
Not for wildland.
Not for wildland.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Sorry, but if you're on an assigned debit, when you go on Wildland, you can get debit, you get your debit credit for that.
So we don't wanna do that, because if we use a debit day for a state mode, as soon as you use a debit day, you've lost,
Oh,
right? And so the state mode has agreed, so we would be cutting the state mode a deal and hurting the citizens.
got it.
Because then the state mode would pay a straight time,
Understood.
and that day that would have been worked, the citizens pay overtime.
Yeah.
So we do not let debit days be used on state mode, because it would actually cost the citizens in the long run.
Money.
What we do to work with the members though, is if you had 2 people out on a mob and you had 2 people called in for overtime, depends on who assigns it. So if somebody's doing the backfill, at that point, it doesn't matter. If you and I are both on overtime and I say, well, I wanna use my debit, well, you can on Wildland, and you can fill the same spot, we'll just swap. And you'll get the debit credit, because it doesn't really matter. At that point, we're just looking for reimbursement
Right.
to cover the shift. So we do allow flexibility, yeah. So we're not animals. We will work with the group, and where it meets.
Are part-timers
the
allowed to
intent,
go on
we can do
those?
it.
The only one that has ever signed up was Nathan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows about these other 6? But yeah, they are allowed. But we've only had one that's ever taken advantage of it. I think part of it is because they can't be on the team until after their probation, and there's not too many part-timers that are here much longer than that.
Yep.
So any questions or comments on either of the other policies on part-time staffing or minimum staffing?
No.
Oh, okay. Brenham,
I think they are.
I guess. After a lot of work by the lady, two people to my left, we have this wonderful annual report. What did I miss? Hold on,
D,
that's not in mine.
Because there's nothing, there's no thing for it.
There's no
Your-
thing
your
for
guys'
it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't have anything put in.
It's gonna be all my own
That's
list.
okay, that's what I'm here for.
At the last meeting, the labor presented us with a letter, read a letter actually, stating their position with regard to mergers, specifically a merger with Surfer. And at that particular point in time, and I would guess that it probably hasn't changed, they were in favor of not pursuing a merger with, at least with Surfer. They were very specific with that. They didn't necessarily say we couldn't merge with Marysville or with Everett or with South County or Granite Falls, but with Surfer. I had an opportunity to talk to President Jorvie about their reasoning for that, and he expressed some concerns. But I asked the chief to include this on the agenda for today because I thought it might be a good time for us three to just have a conversation about would it be appropriate for us to respond back to that? Would it be appropriate for us to kind of take a re-look at where we collectively stand in that regard? Would it be good to generate a memo to the department, say, commissioners, here's our current position as to how we feel about mergers or any other kind of cooperative agreements? So I just wanted to throw it out and see if you guys want to talk about this at all.
Sure, let's talk about, do you want to talk about the letter itself, their position, or do you want to talk about
Well, I think both.
us continuing to at least engage with the Surfer like we discussed there at that last meeting?
I think both. I think their letter certainly reflects a feeling that I took to be pretty strong as to what their position is. But I don't know for sure. So, if we want to have a conversation about that letter or about our position or both.
I think that we should definitely continue to have a conversation with the Surfer and grow that relationship, because, you know, whether they think it's a good idea right now, we still need to build on that relationship. And I don't think that relationship should be built on just because they sent a letter and said that they're not ready for that conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, why not continue, at least from my perspective, why not continue that relationship building and conversation, and however long that takes for them to feel more comfortable with whatever. I mean, here's the thing, either way, we should still be fact gathering anyways.
Yes.
Right? For us as a board, we don't make our decisions based on what they want as a group. We need to be able to always be looking at all of our partners and saying, well, what makes the best sense for our community or our constituents that voted us into these positions, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, that's great that they feel a certain way about it, but we still need to
Do what we need to do.
Yeah, we still need to do what we need to do, and if, you know, we ended up deciding whatever it is down the road. It doesn't really, you know, we obviously are gonna take them in consideration, they're the workforce.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, that conversation, at least on our end, should not stop, 100% should not stop, because we would, yeah.
I tend to agree with that. Pretty strongly, in fact, whether we're, like you say, whether we're talking with Surfer, or with South County, or with Marysville, whatever, it doesn't matter. Those conversations for us to work more cooperatively on a regional basis, I think, are critical. Just because of the way that the fire service is evolving here in this part of the county.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we stay connected and stay in good relationships with those agencies. Because at the end of the day, the lives of our firefighters and the lives of our communities count on that. Us being able to all work together. So, Craig,
Well, yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I mean, someday down the road, we're gonna have the kind of population growth that's gonna force everybody to be kind of in one organization or one team, form somehow or other. So, the more we keep that conversation open, hopefully the easier that will come as more of a natural evolution rather than a forced evolution. If we can do it as a natural evolution, whatever that looks like in the future, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You're far better off. If everybody's aware of it, we're already talking about it. And then, as Brian said, the way the fire departments are evolving, the more we can work together, the smarter we are. From a business aspect, it makes a whole bunch more sense if we could say, hey, we're talking about the health conglomerate. There's a great example where we can all work together. We all need this. Let's figure out how we're gonna make it all work for all of us and go do it together. So, yeah.
do we want to craft any kind of a formal response to their letter? Or just say, thanks for your input?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I'd like to engage with them with that subject in general. And I feel like,
With the local?
yeah, it'd be amazing to be able to actually hear, instead of just hearing a letter. And to me, the letter was very vague. It's kind of like, we just don't want to have the conversation right now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I was like, hey, hold before you walk off. I'm sure it wasn't time for questions.
No,
But
no,
it would be nice to sit down and be like, hey, like,
Why? Yeah.
why? What are the concerns? Why? We would like, if we're gonna go over and have a conversation, even work on a relationship, we wanna also would be like, hey, these are the people that that are doing our work, and these are the people that we care about, that are providing
Yes.
for our community. Why wouldn't we want to know where they stand? Not just
Mhm.
1 week they're here, 1 week they're there. I mean, from what I heard is that 2 months prior, they were in favor of a conversation, and then it's like, you know, we get a letter, it's like, oh, they're not, so we're like.
Changed. I can tell you that one thing, and I kind of appreciate their position in this. One thing that President Jorge told me was that they were concerned about jumping into merger discussions with a brand new fire chief. You know, and.
Well, that was, you were at the meeting, that was my concern as well, so I was like, you know what this is gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
were there other underlying things? I don't know. And I don't know if he was, I don't want to say being honest, because I know he was, but being complete in his discussion about
Yeah.
what all those underlying reasons were for them to take that position. But I like you, it would be great to have a conversation with them to, because at some point in time, we're gonna have to.
I just.
Either the chief is gonna have to, from a labor management standpoint.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
but it would be good for us to understand where they stand as well.
Yeah.
Not just for a merger with Surfer per se, but just merger in general.
Yeah.
You know, because it, ultimately, whether we do or don't, can have an impact on the culture and morale of labor, right? Depending on the position that we take and what our philosophy or policy is going to be with regard to getting together with someone else. And if we don't understand their position, it may be hard for us to move forward with a good solid front. You understand what I mean? So I don't know how we go about that.
So can I try to translate, 'cause I'm listening to 3 different groups, and I'm not speaking to the local, so I can only speak to employees that came to my office, so. The feeling by the employees after that last joint meeting is we were going to merge in a year. And that's coming from the Surfers Board, what they said, right? So you guys, so that's the feeling by some employees that have came in. You know, I've had some people come and ask me, am I gonna have a job in here? Do I need to look for a job? Because we're gonna merge. You guys sat here just now, and what I heard was you guys wanna collaborate and work together for things because it might happen at some point, right?
Can
And so-
I ask this too, is that what you guys came out of with that last meeting? I did not. We're already like,
I'm talking about perceptions,
Okay.
not,
Perceptions.
so I'm trying to explain to you, because I get people feedback, right? And so, when I hear people tell me confidentially, ask questions, and I hear you speak, and I hear that meeting, and I hear the locals letter, everybody's saying close to the same thing, but different. And that's what I'm trying to get to. So what the locals letter said, and again, I'm not speaking for them, but if I can kind of take what you said and what I'm hearing by employees, is what I heard is we don't want to merge, but we're going to be in discussions, right? So the concern on the employees is there was perception that this is happening at warp speed. And it's going to happen, and it's a done deal. You guys say we just want to work. See what I mean? I think there's some translation
I think all along
issues
it's
here.
just the discussion, it seems as though that we just want to have the discussion. How do we even remotely make a decision if we don't even have any information?
And again, I don't think
And
anybody's
it's
not.
like, it almost seems like that was like, hey, we don't even want you guys to have the discussion. We were like, well, it's our due diligence to have that discussion. And then, you know,
I didn't take that from their letter, but I did not talk to Chris in depth. He informed me about it, but we would need to talk to them. I'm just saying, as far as a statement, that like you putting, so what has never happened is Surfers Board has made statement, right? So as far as I know, there's never been a statement from the 3 of you of what your goal and intentions are, right? So that's where then everybody is left to come up with their own opinion of what might happen. That's what I'm trying to go at. So everybody's creating these opinions because there is no fact. And I can't give them the fact either because I don't make that decision. That's the 3 of you, right? So what I think, and they know that, doesn't matter. So all I'm saying is I hear all the different groups. And they're all saying slightly the same thing, but from their context, what the other group says means something different than the group said, because every person has their own biases, every group has their biases, right? And so that bias is filtering, so all the words are being similar, but they're getting filtered amongst the people's biases, and they're hearing different things from the same words. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sure.
I'm looking at my other chiefs that do the same thing. Did I
Yeah,
get close to that?
For,
I'm a little bit more confused now. Sure.
well, for me, to me, there's almost 2 discussions. One is merger as a separate animal all by itself. The other one is working together with the other fire districts. That's much more, to me anyway, a much easier discussion because it's more business-based, fact-based, no emotion involved. Hey, we're all better off if we do this, and here's why. Here's the numbers. point blank, let's go do it, it makes more sense. The other one, the merger of districts, to me, has a lot more emotion built into it, because we're trying to merge cultures. Cultures are, A to Z, and that's always really hard to do that. I've often heard it said, the way to change cultures, there's one or two ways. You get rid of all the people, or you get rid of all the head people. One or two ways, you can change culture today. Other than that, it takes a long time. It's an evolutionary thing. It takes a long time to change culture and merge, and everybody feels comfortable.
And from my perspective, again, I don't know how everybody feels, but I believe all the stakeholders are closer together than everybody thinks they are.
Yeah.
And again, when the
Yeah.
words come out,
Okay.
the biases make people go to their protected corner.
Sure,
Yeah, right.
And the fact that.
understandable.
Right, and the fact that you guys have never done anything official, that everybody gets to make their own opinion
Yeah.
about what you think, and you think, and you think, and then opinion of what you, that's one thing, right? Because as the board, you are 3 individuals, and then you're also one entity, so there's 4 different things happening.
Yep.
And so, I really don't think every group is as far off as it may appear at some time. But just like that, like, somebody might use the word merger, and they mean collaboration.
Yeah.
Somebody else uses the word collaboration, and they hear merger. And right, and so you
Right.
got these words going around that are close, like you just said,
Not
but
the
are
same.
slightly different, and each group at different times is emotionally taking one for the other. That's,
Right.
again, that's just my view as I hear all these different pieces at different times.
I was trying to locate it, but I'm not having any success. At one time, and this may have been, I don't know, my timing is maybe a year or so ago, we had generated a letter jointly with surfers commissioners, if you remember that we were going to send out to the locals, right, to let the locals know what we were doing and what we were thinking. But I don't know if that ever officially was sent.
I think it was ever officially sent, not as a,
Yeah,
not as a
so,
combined
and
group.
I think that's the only time that we have ever, as a group, kind of said, here's our position on this whole consolidation / merger / cooperation thing. I don't know that we've ever put it in writing or made an official statement of where we are with that. So maybe it would be a good idea for us to do that.
Well, like the chief said, maybe a bit of clarification on wording,
Yeah,
merger versus cooperation or
yeah,
joining forces, whatever you want to do it. Clarification of some of those points and go. When we talk this way, this is what we mean, We want to figure out how we can best work together for whatever cause it is.
Right.
Like I said, the healthcare alliance type thing, it's a great example of,
mhm,
it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I think that what we were talking about with the other commissioners is like just getting together to at least have a conversation to say, what can we work together on?
yeah.
And that's what I left with, and getting a letter from them is basically saying, we want no part of that conversation. It's kind of like,
But
like.
But I didn't get that from that letter.
Oh,
I didn't come away thinking that the local wants nothing to do with working together with sort of.
well, I guess not working together, then it's like they don't want to have the conversation right now.
Of merger.
Yeah.
Working cooperatively and
I guess we should ask questions.
Yeah.
We read it.
I mean, because I'll use the
So
training side as a really good example of working collaboratively. I mean, on a regular basis, we're having outside districts come in and train with us, because at some point in time, we're all on the same fire together, or same NVA together someplace. And so all those kind of working together things
That would be
are great.
every.
And bigger than that, so
every
I can only talk to actions. So our local has been, I would say, the most supportive of the training consortium idea. I mean, in the top tier, let's say, it's hard to put one. Our local has been the most supportive of the fire training academy and changes to the fire academy to try to get it to be more successful. Our local's been the most supportive of the medical trust. So all I can say is, I have no idea what that letter means. I read it the same issue. But what I can say is, our local is actively engaged in as many or more collaborative things in the county, and they're supportive and engaged and excited. So they're not talking when it comes to all those individual pieces.
Mhm.
So,
I have the, do you guys have the statement, the written statement?
I'm sorry?
Do you have?
We
this?
were looking for it, but it's.
I have it and can reread it for you if you would like, if that would give clarification, but,
The union statement?
Yeah.
From the recent one?
yeah.
No, I was looking, I don't have a copy.
He's asking if he wants us to, if he wants.
He's got it.
he's got that on his phone.
Link.
Do you want
Would
me
you
to
please?
reread it?
Sure,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
So it says, following an internal vote, the membership of IAFF Local 2694 has determined that we are not in favor of pursuing a merger with Snohomish Regional Fire and Rescue at this time. This position reflects the collective voice of our members based on the information currently available and demonstrates our members' commitment to weigh in on an issue of such importance to their careers, their families, and the communities we serve. That said, we want to be clear. Local 2694 fully expects to be an active participant in any current and future discussions regarding merger, consolidation, or shared service delivery. While our membership has taken a position based on the facts and concerns at hand, we also recognize that these topics are complex and constantly evolving. We are committed to remaining engaged and active participants in these processes to assist in identifying potential impacts and ensuring that our members' perspectives are considered throughout any process the district chooses to explore. We believe that collaboration, respect, and transparency are critical to any successful path forward. We remain ready to represent our membership and contribute meaningfully to any discussion that may affect their working conditions, public safety, delivery, or the future of this fire district.
Thanks. So I didn't get anything from that would lead me to believe that they are against having those discussions about cooperative working.
Just serious conversation.
About merger,
Yeah. Yeah.
not about working,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's how I understand it.
I would agree. And it sounds, it's like, we're gonna make a decision about something, they wanna be as much of an active participant as they can in that decision. You know, there's some things that we're just gonna say, hey, we're doing this, and there's other things we can say, hey, we need your input, how do you want this to look?
And truth be told, when it comes down to those cooperative areas where we can work together and make healthcare or make maintenance or training or whatever better, that doesn't happen at our level. It happens at his level.
Right, he and the other chiefs and
Yeah,
other working.
and at their level,
Right.
right? And that's where I think the work of the local happens so well, and why the training consortium thing is working so well, and all the other,
We don't do that,
It's
right?
because it's the labor that's making it
The
happen.
guys that are doing the work on a
Yeah,
daily
exactly.
basis. Yeah.
So I applaud them for that, and I hope that they keep that mindset that it's important, because wheels on the ground, butts in the seat, they're all there together, they gotta figure it out, right?
Right.
At our level, it's more about, well, how are we gonna fund this? You know, or what's the political governance and structure gonna look like if we wanna consider merge? So a lot of the conversations that we have at that level, I think are down the road. Because the two people, the three people that I've been talking, one from South County, two from Surfer, have all made that similar comment of a lot of the stuff that that need to be discussed at the commissioner level with regard to merger is down the road. Nobody is pushing this merger idea because I think all three organizations understand that it's not something that you can drive heavily handed from the top.
For sure. I think
It's gotta be organic.
the history of this conversation though would show that it hasn't been organically happening, and that was my attempt to say we should be having relationships and trying to encourage the
Yeah.
chief from having and the union to actually have a relationship. And I can go into very, very long detail on that, I won't. But that is why I, like, the last however long you've heard me
Yep.
say it until I'm blue in the face. Right, and it's like, you say that it needs to come from them, but unfortunately it has not. And so that's why I'm like, well, let's get the commissioners in the room, so then we can force them to have a relationship. To me, it's that, yeah, valuable.
So back to a question. Do the three of us want to develop some sort of a position statement that said, you know, here's where we are philosophically as a board and where we would like to see us continue to grow? Do we want to make that statement? To provide some clarity, I guess, to the chief and the staff and the local and the citizens and say, you know, here's where we are with regard to that. Because it was quite in the news, for lack of a better term, a couple of years ago when that whole thing merger, and I don't know that the board has made any kind of a statement since then about where we stand. And I guess my question again is, do we want to make an official statement or do we just want to continue?
Well, I certainly don't see any harm in, like I say, clarification of what we're calling things, so that everybody understands that we're talking about collaboration. It doesn't mean join up tomorrow at all. It means how we work together, partner together on, and we can give examples of things, the training, things like that. Those are all, that's good for everybody. Everybody benefits. So I certainly don't see an issue with publishing something like that helps clarify everybody's mind.
I'll write something.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
get it out to you guys.
And they probably know more than me, but let me try to go over just quick some of the things that we're doing together. So we do morning meetings together, so all BCs and I think all of operations, but at least the officers, every morning, us and Surfer. I would say us and Surfer's company officers on scheduled training are working together more at the training center. That's kind of the first level, and then the training consortium thing we're talking about is us and Surfer in South County are doing pretty much all of the training scheduled together, and then Marysville and North County and Everett kind of come in some of the time, but not as much as the three of us. Is that right?
Yep.
The Med Trust is us and South County and Surfer, North County, Getchell, Granite Falls, and Sultan. That's another group that's working together. And I point this out because it's not all, it's different groups with different things, right? The fire academy that we're working on redoing that is us and Everett and North County, Marysville, South County and Surfer. Am I missing, the safety officers are together?
Yep.
So we've got safety officers from a bunch,
All-
not the
all
whole
of
county.
that you mentioned,
Okay.
yeah.
So they're working, so they have a group that's together. So we have these different groups at different levels, and sometimes the group is us and Surfer, is my point. Sometimes it's us, Surfer, and South County, right? So
Mhm.
the groups are always a
And
little
I'm
bit.
sure there are groups that don't include us.
Absolutely.
We've got the specialty skills groups, you know,
Correct.
rope rescue,
Yes.
water rescue.
Us and the water, Surfers and other water team are operating more as one team than two teams and training and everything.
Yep.
But the tech team is more county-wide. When I say that, it's really, 6 departments again?
Yep.
So yeah, you have these different things that we are coming together and working on different things to try to get alignment. And sometimes it's just us and Surfer, and sometimes it's just us in South County, and sometimes it's 3 of us, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's only the big ones, sometimes it's the southeast end, when you pull, so we have a lot of initiatives going on made up of different groups that are
Yeah.
continually moving things forward.
A lot of our response plans were done on a consortium base, which are not identical, but pretty close and a lot closer than they were 5 years ago. So our fire commercial response with us, Surfer, South County, and Everett are pretty dang close to being the same. The number of units, we may get one extra engine and they get one extra aid car, but we're constantly evaluating. Surfer, I know myself, South County, Everett, Marysville, North County are all in those discussions. Not all have adopted it, but we at least do meet and talk about how do we try to, where can we make the run card similar to where essentially down the road, it doesn't matter if you're a company officer here or in Mount Lake Terrace. You kind of get a similar response, so it's what to be expected on that type of call. And are we perfect? No, but we're a heck of a lot closer than we were 4 years ago, and we're meeting next week before Fire TAC to make some more headway. Tech rescue, fire responses, mid-rise, a lot of the high acuity tech calls were pretty close to being the same. Med calls were a little bit different, but that's just because of deployment. This unit's got 2 medics on it, 2-person crew. This unit's got 3 personnel and 1's a medic. This department's got ALS engines. Tougher to write med plans the same when we all staff slightly different. Easier on the fire responses because most of us staff 3 on an engine, 3 in a truck,
Yeah.
3.
And my point to that is sometimes we just need to tell people, right, because they might realize it's going on, but not, right? Like sometimes you need to say, hey, we're already doing all this collaboration. Oh, well, I like that stuff. Okay, see, it's not that, right? So you're not scared of this, and you're not scared of that, and you're not scared of this. Stop being scared of the word. That's why I mentioned all of those, that we have lots of diverse groups working together. And I probably left groups out, so sorry.
I'll generate a letter.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I do have to give our local credit because just publishing the letter shows that they take a big part in the ownership of the department itself, which is really important to both understand and it's a good comment on their side. They need to be proud of the fact that they do that.
Now, annual report. I'll sing your praises once more.
Oh, thank you.
You're just making sure that we're still in the frame.
Oh,
I need to do a battery swap.
there hasn't been a subduction zone earthquake out there that they're now calling for because there's been a dozen in the last. Yeah.
Okay. Do you need us to pause while you?
I am pausing, if we could pause
Yeah,
while
we
you do
can
battery
pause,
swap.
and we take a break.
Take a pause.
Evan,
Let's
Evan?
take a short recess.
Would you mind going, grabbing Caitlin?